What's going on, track and field family? Welcome back to another episode of On the Mic with Marshall. This week's I have another interview with my good friend and teammate Markeith Price. Markeith Price is a Paralympian who runs on the Paralympic team with me, and I'm gonna let him do his own introduction, and I'll be back with the first question.
What's up, everybody? My name is Markeith Price. I'm a Paralympian, world champion, Parapan game champion, been across the world. Right now, I'm doing some innovative things, but I'm still running track. You can call me Mr. Innovator, or you can just call me Markeith or Keith, whatever you prefer. But I'm excited to be here with my boy Marshall. Man, I've known this guy for a little while. We got a funny story. I'm gonna tell this story real quick. So if you don't know, Marshall is a 2-category athlete. And so he's visually impaired, and he also has cerebral palsy, which I'm pretty sure he shared that with you all. But the first time I met this guy, right, because I am a T13/T12, we were running a 200 at Desert Challenge Games, and my guy was in the race or getting ready to run with me. And so with the Paralympics, each category we have different times that we run depending on our different disability, like our category, right? And so Marshall had looked at me and he was like, hold on. Like, you don't look like you got what I got going on. You look like you got something else going on. He's like, I think I'm in the wrong race, my brother. And so I was like, oh, okay. Because he's a T13 and also, I believe, T35. I hope I get that right. And I thought that was funny. So I had to go ask an official because I've been running for a little while. So I kind of was knew what it was my first time that had happened, but I had said, hey, I don't think this guy is supposed to be in this race. And we got him. He got to the right race. He raced the right people, and he burnt the wheels off of them. But I thought that was so funny. That was our first encounter. Ever since then, that's a great joke that we have. But yeah, thank you for having me, Marshall. I appreciate it. All right.
Yeah, Markeith. Yeah, that was a funny story, man. First day, 5 months after I was training, that was my first Paralympic event, competition, and shoot, I didn't know who to talk to, where I was supposed to be at, but I knew Markeith didn't look like me. Yes, we both have a visual impairment, and that's what happened because we both have a visual impairment. They automatically put us together in the race, but because of my TBI that I had when I was younger, it gave me cerebral palsy like symptoms. Basically, that's why I get to run with the CPs. But yeah, that was a crazy story. Okay, Markeith, let's get into the first question. What motivated you to compete in the Paralympics, and how has that motivation evolved over the years throughout your career?
Thanks, Marshall, for the question. So what motivated me to get into the sport and what keeps me going? So honestly, me being diagnosed at the age of 3 years old, something that when you get diagnosed with certain things that will cause you to be different, they always like to say, hey, you're a child, or this person may not be able to do these types of things. And honestly, that's what the doctors told my parents, but my parents did not stop me from allowing me to be involved in activities and sports. And once, at age of 3, I got just pushed out into the world of sports. And ever since then, I took off running and always loved to run. And so something my dad was always motivated and inspired by is track and field. He was a track and field athlete himself. So it kind of just drove me to want to run track at the age of like 10 years old. And ever since then, like I said, took off running and been in the sport ever since. And then I learned about Paralympics. And maybe around 2004, I had learned about the Paralympics. I was 14 at the time, honestly. Did not know what the Paralympics was. I was still a kid in my mindset at the time where, you know, nowadays disability it has grown. There has been more community support, where back then, that wasn't like how it was. So for me, you know, I was a little nervous, or I could say not understanding what the Paralympic movement was. And so I went to the first nationals in 2006. And so then in 2006, ever since then, being able to be around people with different abilities, that's what I like to say, but disabilities that from different like spectrums, it just inspired me to keep going. And I just absolutely love running track. So at the age of 10, I was involved with like adaptive sport programs from 11 and 12, but then I also was involved in like other like what we would call able or people with non-disabilities. Like I would like be involved into sports in that type of way. But I absolutely always love every stage of my track career. I did AAU, so Junior Olympics. I did USA Junior Olympics. I also did USA BA, which is United States Association of Blind Athletes. So I went to like the Junior Worlds for the blind athletes, and then I went to the IBSA World Games. So that kind of was like the initial like start for me in my track career. And then I had some adversity. I was doing different like sports, or I should say different events. So initially I was kind of like an 800-meter runner, but at the same time I was a pretty decent long jumper and 400-meter runner. But my main event in high school was the 800 meters. It's interesting because I made All-American in high school running the 800. And so then when I went to college, I found out that they took the 800 meters out. And I went to college in 2008, and I just missed out on Beijing because I had got hurt that year. I was 18 years old, got hurt, and had to wait out another 4 years, and found out that they took out the 800, and I also was a really good triple jumper, high school and college, and I was getting better, and found out that they took out the triple jump as well. And it's interesting because I medaled I got second at the World Championships for blind athletes, the IBSA World Games, when I was 17 years old in the triple jump. And so I just knew one of those things was going to be my event. And so I had to like make a shift in the middle of like college, 2010. I had to make a decision. So I winded up doing the 400 meters and doing long jump, and then working on sprinting more. And so that helped me get through that adversity, that adverse time, because I knew I wanted to make the Paralympic Games in 2012. And I mean, honestly, we can talk about all the world championships and all of those things that has motivated me to keep going. But honestly, before we can even get into that, I just gotta talk about like the thing that actually motivates me is just the love of the freedom of what the sport can give to you as a person. You learn so much about yourself. You learn about adversity. You learn about the challenges. You learn about just how much do you actually love this sport. I love biomechanics, so learning more about the biomechanics of what the sport takes, whether it's on the track or in a field event. And I also really love the community. So track and field, especially para track and field, you one, when you make the teams, you get to go and travel, but then two, you get to meet so many people from around the country, outside yet alone the world, but just from that like standpoint in the country, you get to meet so many people from so many places, and just people that love the sport. So I would say just that short, long kind of synopsis of what got me into the sport, and then also just what keeps me motivated to continue to run track and field is just like that love of like biomechanics, the love of what the sport gives to you, and then just also just once again the community of people that with para track and field, and then also track and field just alone, you're just working on fitness and working on showing, hey, like this year this is the results, these are my goals, these are my objectives, and these are the results that I was able to accomplish. So I'll end on that one. Yeah, so that's what keeps me kind of going and keep me motivated into running para track and field. So
Okay, Markeith, next question. Can you share a particular challenging moment in your career, and how did you overcome it?
So I kind of already shared a little bit of adversity or a challenge that I've had just in the sport of para track and field. I mean, I've been running track since I was 10, once again. And so, I mean, honestly, it's over 20 years now that I've been running. And I've had a lot of adversities, from injury to, once again, them taking out the actual like event that like I would be able to medal in. So that was like very challenging. And I could also add that happened again in 2014. So 2008, they, after the Beijing Games, they took out the 800 meters, and then they also took out triple jump, which were two events that like I was extremely good at, medal potential, and then they just automatically took it out. And so stuck with the long jump and the 400. I said, I'm gonna do these two things. And then in 2000, after London 2012, in 2013, the World Championships in Lyon, France, they actually took out the long jump, which I kind of made up my mind that was what I was going to dedicate myself to like perform better. Like I'm going to just like solely like, this is the only event that I'm going to do. Of course, I still ran the 400 just for, it was also a very good event that I was really good at. And then they took it out. And so I had to like hunker down and figure out, okay, what am I going to do? And in 2015, even though they had long jump for the last time, I made a decision, hey, I'm gonna focus on the 100 and the 400, because they also took out that 200. So honestly, when we're talking about adversity, just maybe all the para athletes can relate to this, is not actually having the actual event that you would want to specialize in. Because as you become more of a professional into the sport, instead of doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 events, sometimes some athletes want to specialize in just maybe one thing, and then you have some athletes that are doing multiple things. So just that's like one of the biggest adversities that I could say that I've had. And then also they brought back the long jump. So after 3 years, maybe around 2017, so from 14 to 17, they brought back the long jump. And it was like, okay, I have to kind of like reset my goals. Do I want to go back to doing long jump, or do I want to continue with just running the 400 and the 100? And then I also could say, I think this is a very important piece to share. I think when it comes to para track and field, we, as the para athletes, we all have our challenges with what we deal with, and then we look for adaptable equipment or adaptable technology to help us to propel ourselves to do the sport. And being a visually impaired blind athlete, I think it can be challenging when it comes to practicing. Like practice, it sounds like so easy, like get to the track and go run around the track. But I think that having that resource to actually get to the track, which, you know, the financial and the money piece to get to the track, man, that's like one of the biggest adversities that I've had, especially when I left the training center to come back over to where I'm from. Just simply for the fact that I had like different like family things going on, personal things that I needed to handle, and I still wanted to run. And I think that just like, man, being able to get to the track and from the track was like one of my biggest challenges. And I've worked it out now because I found something I really love doing, which is throwing the javelin. And honestly, it would be nice to be able to go to the track still 3-4 times a week. But I've been able to find a good balance in working out in my home, in the basement, having the equipment. So I saved up a lot of money getting that those resources to be better, and then going to the field once a week. I'm still throwing like 3 times a week, but just with med balls and doing a lot of drills, running some hills. But that has really helped me. So I think, just to answer the question, 2 things: the in and out with taking in events out and putting them back in and then taking them out. It's like, man, how are you as an athlete supposed to find your actual specialty if the events keep getting switched on you? And that was like my whole career since I was like 16 up until now. And then also, I just think, you know, when it comes to being visually impaired, you have some additional challenges. Well, each one of us have additional challenges, but our challenge is getting to the track, or sometimes it's having that guide. So, you know, I don't necessarily use a guide, but I think that having additional person out there on the track also helps. So now I actually have that right now. So it actually helps out a lot. But yeah, those are 2 challenges that I can say, man, has been really, really tough for.
Okay, Markeith, next question. You've been competing ever since you were 16 years old. We want to know this. How has your training regimen changed over the years, and what do you find most effective now?
Thanks, Marshall, for the question. Man, training regimen is so important. I take it serious. You know, first of all, man, track is so much fun. Track and field, just being able to, I still say play, right? Like your body, like you're allowing yourself to play, but also you gotta be in the zone and kind of take it serious. So, you know, even getting into that flow state, I think track and field brings along that like flow state of being able to focus, meditate, have a moment of stillness. I think is like so important. But let me answer your question. Hold on for a second. Hold on. Let me look at the question. So I think that's like one of the important things, is just getting into that flow state. But when it comes to my training regimen, I think it's interesting. It changed over time, especially dealing with being able to show up to the track. I went from having a track in my face and trying to figure out how do I get to the track. So it's definitely changed over time, long periods of time. I ran in high school. I went to the world championships in high school, junior world championships and world championship. Went to the uh, the World Championships in New Zealand. And so my regiment was a little bit different because I was in college and in high school, and I really was just like taking it all in. It was kind of still really, really growing, and we're still growing as a sport. So my regiment was to try to figure out, how do I get faster? How do I do right? Making sure I'm drinking water. And then when I took on it as a profession after college, I think being at the center helped me to get into a good regimen: breakfast, lunch, dinner, so that having that set time of a regiment between my trainings helped me maximize the things that I needed to do to be the best that I could. And then using the services from registered dietitian to using the physical therapist to also using the sports psychologist, I used it all. And those were good regiments for me. A lot of times eating the same kind of breakfast helped me every day, sticking to a routine, knowing that if I didn't eat enough oatmeal, man, like training on that day was going to be rough. So I needed to make sure I had my oatmeal and 2 boiled eggs. So being at the training center really was really amazing because I was able to stick to that like routine. And then when I came back over to my home, I had to kind of figure out, how can I mimic that, or how can I do something different? So still eating breakfast and still eating the eggs in the morning time, but then now instead of having prepared food, okay, I have to find a way to cook that food. So developing that like routine where not having the freshest meals every time, but having pre-cooked meals was something that I had to continue to do. So batch cooking, or leftovers, right? So I think making sure that I'm preparing enough food to help me in my training regimen. And then now I'm having to set my own time, so knowing what's the best time to train. So it's evolved over time because I also went back to school, and so I had to fit my schedule around school. And then knowing that I'm in a different space and I'm kind of like coaching myself, so it's definitely evolved over time, but it's helped me to be able to develop a great training regimen for myself, and knowing that I actually can give another athlete or a lot of athletes good training regimens. I think that me really training by myself has helped me understand what it actually takes to like give it your all, and knowing how to stay focused, and what are you going to do to stay focused. I also think getting older, or I should say, being a vet, I should say it that way, being a different age, it helps me know that I actually know how to run now. I know how to sprint now. I know what not to do. I know what to do. And I know how to recover better. And I know, if I didn't recover enough, or if I didn't do the right type of recovery. So those regiments kind of really changed over time. But each segment from college, that was totally different. Studying and all that, like teammates, having a bunch of teammates versus going to the training center, still having people that I would consider teammates, but then that regiment was different. And then also going from so many people to having not so many like people, well, really just myself, training by myself. My regiment had to change. I had to evolve what I was doing. And now I'm coaching myself. I had to learn something totally different, learning the actual mechanics of how to throw a javelin, which is so, man, I can't even get into how difficult that was, and how I actually am still learning. And I'm just at the point where I'm having a lot of good breakthroughs, and I'm so excited about that. So I can't wait to this season, man, 2025.
Okay, Markeith, next question, question 4. What impact has being a Paralympian had on your personal life and how you view challenges?
So, what impact of being a Paralympian has on my life? I think that the first thing that I can think about when now being a Paralympian is adaptive sports changed my life. Um, the reason why I say that is because you don't have to be a champion to be a Paralympian, but I think the Paralympics just showcases what elite athletes with a disability or a different ability looks like. And then you also have athletes that do adaptive sports and they're doing it for recreation or doing it for health or fitness or community or whatever it may be. But I think that being a Paralympian has shown me the whole umbrella of what adaptability looks like when it comes to just us as people with disabilities. Like I said, or you could say different abilities. And honestly, that's kind of my viewpoint. It's changed my life for a better, just simply for the fact that I'm around so many people that you could say that they're having challenges in their daily life, but they're getting up every day to train, to show people. I'm not gonna say prove because there shouldn't be any proving to anybody. It's more of, hey, showing the great thing, the great gift that God has given us, or um, whatever you may believe in, whatever the case may be, it's the gift that was given to you. You're showcasing that to the world and just letting the world know, like, hey, this is my talent, this is the gift, and I am honing on my craft. So being able to like showcase that, I think that's one of the biggest things that I've learned from being a Paralympian. Is just adaptive sports is great. Building that community of people, and you don't have to have a disability to be a part of adaptive sports. To be honest, whether it's volunteering or whether it's just being a guide or whether it's just going to the meet. And I mean, yeah, you might not be able to get into the same race because you might have a little bit different competitive edge than the Paralympic athletes, but our competitive edge is just as, or we'll just say more competitive than someone with a non-disability. So yeah, man, like being a Paralympian has changed my world, and honestly, it's what I know. I mean, like I said, I started in 2006 and it's 2025. I mean, that's more than half my life now. So I can't wait to see things take off, especially LA 2028. It's going to be amazing. Like, I can't wait for LA 2028. It's just going to, like, I think that when it will allow people to start to embrace their differences more and see that just the diverse spectrum of what people have to offer. It's going to be amazing. So Paralympics, I mean, there's so much I can say, but I think that's just like the biggest passion, is just the adaptive sports and the community.
Okay, Markeith, question 5. I'm curious to see your response to this question, so I'm gonna go ahead and ask it. Question 5. What advice would you give to an aspiring athlete with a disability who wants to pursue competitive sport within the Paralympic movement?
So, what advice would I give to someone that is wanting to, for that has a disability that is wanting to pursue sports, like I guess being competitive in a competitive sport? I think the best advice I could give is go for it. Like seriously, like the time is now. I always say this saying that I say is move, progress. And that just simply means like make the moves, make the action, like towards whatever the thing that you are wanting to do. So I think that's like the best advice that I can give is go for it. Don't give up. Um, Sports is for everybody. Uh, so it's for people that have disabilities. It's for people without disabilities. So go for it. Get active, and do your research. Pick one sport, and then if that's not the sport that you want to do, then go to another one and find other ones. There are some great websites out there. Of course, you have the Paralympics, but there are other places you can Google just adaptive sports and get into it that way. And if you don't even have the adaptive sports, if you're capable or able to, or if you feel like you want to compete with other people that don't have disabilities, I would say go for it too. Don't let that stop you. I competed with people without disabilities for a long time and still do and love to, right? Because it's about a community once again. So go for it, get active, move, progress, like I always say. And yeah, man, like enjoy yourself. So
Okay, Markeith, last question. I know you're going to have a good response to this one, so let me go ahead and ask it. What do you have planned next after competing in the Paralympics for over 20 years?
So what do I have planned next for competing in Paralympics for the next what do I have planned next for competing for 20 years in the Paralympics? I definitely have been working on different plans. I went back to school, got my master's in information systems. I have been doing my entrepreneurial thing for a while now. I actually built a foundation, founded a foundation a little over 10 years. It's been like 12 or 13 years now. So worked on building that. And I think my biggest thing is working on building capital and giving it back to, or I should say investing into other startups. So working on venture capital work, that's what I've been working on. And I have some other plans that I'm working on right now as well too. I'm working on doing some research, so I'm working on my second master's. And yeah, the sky's the limit. I literally have been working on my entrepreneurial endeavors. And like, once again, I'm working on investing into other startups and other companies. So that's my plan for after sport. But I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna keep on going. This javelin thing has been really, really, really good. And honestly, I've been able to balance working and also my sport. So for now, I'm going to keep doing that. And yeah, I'm looking to just help other people and then also get paid for performance coaching. So I know as I've built my ventures, I've worked on many ventures out there myself. I've also working on, or I should say, I've been a board advisor for some ventures out there. So looking to do that as well. And once again, sky's the limit. So I don't have one direct thing that I'm working on, but they kind of all work together at the end of the day. So yeah, that's what I'm working on for after track and after my sport, but I'm doing it as we're speaking. So I've been able to go to some events and just get involved and be a part of a couple boards, and honestly looking to get paid to do that and give some great advice to help businesses get off the ground, figuring out how to get money, figuring out how to get investors. And yeah, I think that's what we're gonna work on. I'm gonna be building funds and investing into other people's businesses and wanting to see their success with their business. So, yeah.
Okay, guys, that's going to conclude this week's episode of On the Mic with Marshall with our special guest, Markeith Price. Paralympian Markeith Price. I'm going to link all his socials in the description below. And remember, the video will be posted on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok.